Here's part 11, continuing the dramatic fictional story in English main, around 1,000 words, focusing on the media storm, public reaction, and escalating cultural impact following Jane Fonda's interview. Part 11, approximately equals 1,000 words. Jane Fonda erupts during NBC News interview after heated clash with Jacob Soboroff. Fiction. The morning after the interview, the media landscape had transformed. Cable news channels ran continuous loops of Jane Fonda's pointed statements, each clip dissected by pundits, journalists, and cultural commentators. Social media platforms buzzed with activity, hashtags like #FondaFirestorm, #SpeakUpLikeFonda, and #Action trending globally. Millions of viewers shared screenshots, clips, and personal commentary, turning a single segment into a worldwide conversation about activism, climate change, and media accountability. In newsrooms across the country, producers and anchors scrambled to analyze what had just occurred. Some called it a masterclass in media domination, while others debated whether the network had lost control entirely. The consensus, however, was unanimous: Jane Fonda had seized the narrative. The public reaction intensifies. Public reaction was immediate and intense. Audiences flooded social media with praise, criticism, and debate. Activist groups shared her clips to encourage participation in environmental initiatives, and student organizations organized panels, rallies, and discussion forums. Comments on social media ranged from admiration to outrage. Jane Fonda just schooled live TV. Everyone should take notes. Finally, a celebrity using their platform for something important instead of PR stunts. The network clearly didn't expect someone to speak truthfully. This is unprecedented. Even international media outlets covered the story. European and Asian news channels replayed her statements, translating them for local audiences, while journalists analyzed the implications of a Hollywood figure turning a morning show into a call for global action. NBC's internal turmoil. Inside NBC, chaos reigned. Senior executives convened multiple emergency meetings to strategize the network's response. Advertisers called to express concern, some threatening to pull spots if the network allowed similar confrontations in the future. Ratings were skyrocketing, but the executives worried about control. One producer muttered to a colleague, "We've never seen anything like this. Ratings are through the roof, but we're hemorrhaging control." The head of PR tried to mediate. "The narrative is not ours anymore. The audience owns it, and so does Jane. Our best move is to acknowledge the impact and embrace it carefully." Jacob Soboroff's perspective. Jacob Soboroff sat quietly in his office, replaying the segment on a loop. He had walked into the interview expecting a controlled, professional exchange, but Jane had turned it into a lesson, a live, unfiltered discourse that challenged every preconception he had about media, celebrity, and activism. He typed a quick note to Jane. "Your words today were transformative. Not just for me, but for the audience. Thank you for the clarity." Her reply was characteristically succinct. "Keep asking questions that matter. Let the truth lead." Jacob realized that the traditional dynamics of journalist and interviewee had been upended. Jane had turned confrontation into education, tension into action, and conflict into awareness. Global amplification. Within hours, the story spread internationally. News outlets in London, Paris, Tokyo, and Sydney highlighted Jane's calm intensity and unwavering commitment to activism. Analysts debated her rhetorical strategy, cultural commentators praised her courage, and even political leaders acknowledged the resonance of her message. In universities worldwide, students organized watch parties and discussion groups, dissecting every moment of the interview. Activists posted guides on how to replicate Jane's method of speaking truth to power, turning her approach into a blueprint for effective public engagement. Even corporations responded. Several announced environmental initiatives, citing the segment as a wake-up call for corporate responsibility. NGOs reported increased donations and volunteer sign-ups, directly linking the surge to the viral spread of Jane's statements. The cultural shift. Within days, the interview had sparked a broader cultural conversation about the role of celebrity in activism, media responsibility, and the power of live television as a platform for social change. Commentators noted that Jane had achieved something rare. She had made millions of viewers care deeply about urgent global issues without resorting to spectacle or performance. Late-night talk shows and online podcasts analyzed her calm yet commanding presence. Influencers created posts with her key statements. Every small action can overwhelm the largest systems. Do not wait for permission to care. Speak truth. Take action. The world cannot wait. These phrases quickly became rallying cries for online movements, inspiring grassroots activism on a scale the network could never have anticipated. The network's strategic response. By the end of the week, NBC had drafted a formal response. Rather than criticizing or attempting to distance themselves from Jane, the network chose to highlight her commitment and the audience engagement her interview generated. The press release framed the segment as an example of authentic journalism, emphasizing the importance of engaging with urgent social issues while acknowledging the tension that live television can produce. Internally, executives debated the balance between control and authenticity. Some feared that future guests might attempt similar disruptions, while others argued that Jane had shown the network a way to produce meaningful, resonant content that could elevate both ratings and public discourse. Jane Fonda's continued influence. Jane did not rest on the momentum of her interview. She continued to leverage the exposure to amplify climate activism and social justice initiatives. She scheduled a series of virtual town halls, engaged with international media, and personally responded to messages from activists and young leaders inspired by her words. Her approach remained consistent, clear, direct, and unflinching. She refused to be drawn into celebrity drama or personal disputes, keeping the focus on the issues that mattered most. Jacob Soboroff. Reflection and growth. For Jacob, the interview became a turning point. He had entered the studio confident in his role as a journalist but left with a deeper understanding of the intersection between media, influence, and activism. He began advocating for more thoughtful, rigorous interviews, emphasizing substance over spectacle. He shared his reflections in an op-ed. Watching Jane Fonda transform a confrontation into clarity reminded me that journalism isn't about control, it's about amplifying truth. In a world saturated with noise, the courage to speak directly, calmly, and truthfully is revolutionary. Impact on viewers. The reaction among viewers was profound. Social media polls indicated that a significant portion of the audience felt more motivated to engage in activism, donate to environmental causes, and participate in community initiatives. Educators noted that students were discussing the interview in classrooms, using Jane's rhetoric as a model for persuasive, impactful communication. The segment became a case study in communications and media courses across the country. Analysts praised her mastery of tone, timing, and authority, emphasizing that her effectiveness lay not in volume or theatrics but in authenticity and precision. Conclusion. A lasting legacy. Within a week, Jane Fonda's interview had transcended the confines of morning television. It had sparked global dialogue, inspired new waves of activism, and challenged the media industry to reconsider its approach to live content. Her confrontation with Jacob Soboroff, initially seen as a potential conflict, had evolved into a seminal moment in media history. Jane's ability to navigate tension, maintain composure, and deliver an uncompromising message had reshaped public expectations of how celebrity, media, and activism could intersect. As the cameras of the Today Show went dark and the crew exhaled after the most intense week in recent memory, one truth remained undeniable: Jane Fonda had spoken, and the world had listened. Her words, calm yet piercing, continued to echo far beyond the studio. Speak truth. Take action. The world cannot wait. If you want, I can continue with Part 12, which could focus on international reactions, deeper network strategy, and real-world activism surges, expanding the story further toward your 5,000-word goal. Do you want me to continue with Part 12?